Hi, and welcome to the Hit Subscribe YouTube channel. I am going to do a video today that I've actually done before if you were to go plumb the depths of this channel from a long time ago, at least kind of in principle. But specifically, this time I'm going to do it for this Make Me a Programmer website that you see here on your screen. And what I'm going to do today is install Google Analytics for this site. Now, I have done this before, but I kind of want to, I guess, document the journey of Make Me a Programmer for posterity. I believe this is the first video featuring this site, and what we're doing here with MakeMeAProgrammer.com is creating a hit subscribe blog property where we can demonstrate all of the things that we would do for our client site to get you more traffic, more engagement, etc. But we're going to do this on a site of our own creation, almost like we're running a lab here. And it's going to be hard to run experiments if we don't have data, and the thing that is going to get us that data is Google Analytics. So, let me log in here. And what I'm going to want to do next is install a plugin, I believe. Let's see. So, I want to add a new plugin. And then I want to search for Google Analytics. And there's a plugin here that I will know when I see. It's this guy, Google Analytics for WordPress by Monster Insights. So I'm going to install this. I need to have this here on my site, and then I'm going to activate it. And I'm going to rely on this guy to walk me through the rest of the process. So what we need to do is this authenticate with your Google account. So I already have a Google account. Let me see. Let's see what happens here. Honestly, so this is the one I use for all my Google Analytics, and I do not recall if I have to go set something up. I think I need to create a new. As you can see, I have a bunch of accounts already. So what you're watching me do here is just kind of fumble my way through this. I should probably at some point get around to we gotta do this now, making this a little bit more polished. But I don't know. I guess there's maybe a certain appeal to watching somebody kind of half figure it out as they go. It will demonstrate, for instance, that even if you don't remember exactly what you're doing, you can figure it out. So what I need to do is add, I guess, another analytics account. Maybe that's not where I do it. Send feedback. I wonder if I need to go to admin, account settings, create an account. Property. Let's try this. We will call this a programmer. Yeah, this is getting more promising. So I'm going to go over here and make sure I'm copying the URL over properly. Oh. This seems like harder than it ought to be, so I guess the lesson here is to make sure you're picking the right protocol. So this is HTTPS, and I'm just going to call this no. I don't know how important it is to have a different account name from a website property, or if I could do something like just have the same account for all my different website properties. But it's not really worth figuring out to me, because one way or the other it gets in here and I can find it. Computers. Yeah, sure. I'm going to pick. I don't really, to be honest, know how much any of this matters. This does matter. The reason that this matters is because this is when like your analytics are going to reset. So if you're doing daily counts, you might want to keep it on the time zone that you're in most frequently, or the one that you live in if you're not weird like me and bounce around a lot. I'm just going to leave all this stuff on because I don't really care. Yes. As you can see, I take all of this very seriously. But really, mainly, I'm just after getting set up here. So this is the script tag. Now I think, now that I've done this, once I go here and I authenticate with Google again, and I pick this account again, sure. I think it's going to, it should be here. There it is. What's data? Now I should be able to do this. Now the last time I did a video on this, things got a little bit weird, but I think we're okay here. Verify credentials. Alright, so that was it. This is probably a somewhat better video to watch simply because the last time I did this in an earlier Hit Subscribe video, there was some kind of weird like bug with Monster Insights, and it wound up being like really hard to do. It was like a GUI bug. It appears that they fixed that, making for a much smoother experience. So you can go check out that old video if you have weird problems. It was like one of those pop-up windows was not properly done with its CSS, so like the button to continue just like didn't exist. But I think we should be good. So let me go in here and here we go. So it probably won't have any, whoops. I'm gonna go home first. Yeah, and like, it's not like there's gonna be any data. I don't really know how long it takes to set all this up, so here's like an interesting thing to try. I wonder if we go for real-time data, if it'll show somebody there right now. Let me try going here in a incognito window. My guess is maybe not. Like, if memory serves, this takes... Oh, there we go, look. Hey. I wonder if I do another incognito window, if it'll say that I have 2 visitors. I've actually never, like, run this type of experiment. Nah, I think it's still detecting 1. So if I were feeling, like, really industrious, I could go get out my laptop and see if connecting from there worked, but, let's go to the About and see if it changes. So it's registering, yeah. You know, I don't know how perfect this is, but sure enough, that's me. Niles, Michigan is the closest, like, ISP ping or whatever, so yep, and there it goes, About. So this is properly hooked up, as you can see, and that's really all there is to it. So if you have a WordPress site, and you already have a Google Analytics account, that's how it works. So I suppose at some point I should probably show you how to create a new Google Analytics account, or to like hook your Gmail account up to Google Analytics if you haven't done that, but I'm not going to do that today because frankly I don't remember how to do it. I only did that once and it was years and years ago, so I would have to go do some research. But assuming you have the account, if you've gotten it set up, that is how you connect it to your WordPress site and get it going. And as you can see, even if you kind of are fumbling your way through that, what are we at 8:30 in this video, it'll probably, when you're not narrating, take you like 5 minutes if you just follow along with what I did. So, alright, so I think what I just did here was a jump cut. Pardon me if I don't get that right, because I sort of suck at YouTube, but I'm trying to get better. The thing is, right after I just finished talking back there, I did my outro and said, all right, let's call it a wrap here. And I went back to edit the video with the idea of blurring out these tracking ID property informations thing. Like if you look at this, this is Make Me a Programmer's Google profile ID, and you'll notice something interesting now that we've installed this on the site. The way this shows up is here. Let me go do a copy paste so that you can so you can see what's going on. So there is actually, you see in the JavaScript now that it has this ID. So because that's public on this website, that's why I'm not going to bother blurring it out in the, when I go back and do the production of the video. But that made me realize that you're probably wondering something, or if you weren't, you are now. Is that a problem? And so I'm going to show you something you can do that's probably worth including here. In practice, probably not. In theory, if I know your tracking ID and I really hate you, what I can do is design my website and like hand edit this, because I don't think this cookie will, or this plugin will do it without authentication. But I could hand edit the JavaScript on my website to have this tracking ID and send it via this script to Google Analytics and jack up your data. So I could create a site that would have to get a non-trivial amount of traffic for it to work. You know, like I'd have to go and take my site, deadtech.com, which gets, you know, tens of thousands of visitors a month. And then for some reason, instead of tracking that traffic for myself, tell Google that it's associated with your tracking ID. This is all fairly far-fetched, so it's not a huge worry, but it is theoretically possible. So what I'll show you is a way to prevent that. And it's relatively simple. I am here, let's see, and as you can see, like, you know, these were showing up, like here's DeadTech's tracking ID. And so I'm going to go to Make Me a Programmer, all website data, and what I'm going to do is, actually, let's go home so I can show you how to do this kind of from scratch. You go to Admin, and you're going to go to Filters, and we're going to add a filter. And what this does is tell Google only to include information according to the filter that we're interested in here. So I'm going to call the filter only this site, and you'll see why in a second. It's a custom filter, and we're going to say include only things coming from the host name, and then just to make sure there's no transcribing errors, we're going to say make me a programmer.com, and then this is, I don't know if it's a regex or like a simple wildcard scheme, but you need to escape the dot. So what I'm saying here is only, I'm telling my Google Analytics account for Make Me a Programmer, only pay any attention to traffic that comes from makemeaprogrammer.com. I'm going to apply it to all website data, and then I'm going to go save. And just to show you that this is working and not filtering out, or not making false negatives, I'll go back to the home view real time. And right now there's nobody on the site. I guess this is stale, so I'm going to go to makemeaprogrammer.com, and I'm going to hope that after a second here we get a real-time user, and it looks like that did indeed happen. Let's show the overview of real-time, and that user is at the home page. If we go here to About, we should expect that after a moment to reflect the new user position. And again, I'm feeling pretty good about this because this is me, and there we are at About. So what we're not filtering out traffic that we want, and that's the main thing. I could contrive of an elaborate experiment where I do exactly this hack and try to mess with Make Me a Programmer's data from DeadTech or another site, but I'm not going to do that. That's beyond the scope of this video. I guess you'll just have to trust me that this works. But so if you're worried about sensitive information if you're worried about somebody messing with your Google Analytics or getting a hold of your tracking ID, that's how you prevent it. Now, this is not, as I'll show you, especially private data, because if I go to view page source again, you have the same thing. Here's DeadTech's tracking ID. So there's no point actually in obfuscating it. I was just going to kind of do that out of habit, and then realized, hey, you know, it might be easier to just explain all of this. So now that is really it. I'm going to wrap and say thanks for watching, and tune in for the next video.